your opening statement, which was how horrible it is that Donald Trump is talking about all of these people.
I'm sorry, that's what you said. You said,
Whoopi, you know what's horrible?
All it took was one allegation, and Whoopi completely lost it. The screaming and shouting got so loud that the situation got completely out of hand. But what could trigger Whoopi so massively? Let's rewind. Joe Rogan, during a nearly 3-hour podcast episode with Donald Trump on October 25th, revealed that Trump had been on The View in around 2015 or 16 and was greeted like a king by everyone. There were hugs and kisses, everyone smiling, and even hosts like Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar were gushing over him. According to Rogan, the vibe was all love, no drama. Trump, of course, agreed. He doubled down, saying he had been on the show many, many times, and that the hosts had always been nice to him. He even added, "They loved me." But here's where it gets juicy. Just 3 days later, on the October 28th episode of The View, Whoopi Goldberg came in with a whole lot of shade. She wasted no time calling Rogan's story a sham, even though it wasn't. She used the term fake news, and you could almost hear the audience gasp when she said it. According to Whoopi, the episode Rogan was referencing didn't happen in 2015 or 2016. Instead, it was way back in 2011. 4 whole years before Trump ever announced his run for president. The whole moment felt more like performance than fact-checking. Rogan wasn't claiming it was some official timeline. He was mocking the fake outrage and pointing out how drastically Whoopi's attitude had changed. And to twist it even further, she went ahead and played the footage from that 2011 episode. The clip showed Barbara Walters warmly introducing Trump as "my friend," but what caught everyone's attention was Whoopi's face. It was stone cold, with no smile and no welcoming energy. It was just a straight-up neutral stare. She even paused the video right there and asked the audience one simple question.
But did I look warm and fuzzy? Was that a warm and fuzzy welcome from
Honestly, she had a point. But she didn't stop at facial expressions. Whoopi took it deeper. She reminded everyone that Barbara Walters was known for keeping things classy and respectful, and as a co-host, she followed that tone out of courtesy. But her face didn't show any of that, or that she was even remotely enthusiastic to have him there. And just when you thought that was all, she dropped another clip. This one was from the same 2011 interview and showed Trump questioning Obama's birth certificate. Trump asked whether Barack Obama was really born in the United States, which sparked major debates over presidential candidates. Well, Whoopi didn't hold back then, and she completely lost it this time. In the clip, she disrespectfully told Trump, "That's the biggest pile of dog mess I've heard in ages."
He's not gonna, say, "Oh, you're with a white guy, I'm gonna keep you from being deported." No, he's gonna deport you and put the white guy with someone else. The man is out there.
She wrapped up her on-air clapback with a firm stance. "I've not been a fan of this man," she said. "I don't like how he talks to us. I don't like how he talks to the nation." She made it clear that she had never supported him, and the expression on her face during that old interview wasn't just boredom, it was restraint. But this was nothing compared to Whoopi's meltdown over Daniel Penny. Picture this. It's December 2024, and the country is still catching its breath after one of the most explosive verdicts of the year. We're talking about the Daniel Penny case, the one that started in a New York City subway, but ended with a courtroom shocker and a barside celebration that didn't sit right with a whole lot of people. And you better believe Whoopi Goldberg was not letting that moment slide. But let's rewind for a second and talk about how it all began, because the story started way back on May 1st, 2023. Jordan Neely, a 30-year-old black man known around the city for his spot-on Michael Jackson moves, stepped into a subway car in Manhattan. But this time, things were different. Neely wasn't performing, he was struggling. Witnesses said he was yelling about being hungry, being tired, and not wanting to live anymore. It was loud, chaotic, and clearly a cry for help. That's when Daniel Penny entered the picture. A 26-year-old white Marine veteran, Penny put Neely in a chokehold. And not for a few seconds. This went on for minutes. It was way too long, and unfortunately, Neely didn't make it. It immediately set off a firestorm across the country about race, mental health, homelessness, and who gets to decide what public safety means. Fast forward to the trial, the nation was glued to every twist and turn, and by December 2024, the verdict dropped. Daniel Penny was acquitted of all charges. There was no second-degree manslaughter and no criminally negligent homicide. Penny just walked free. And while some cheered, others were left stunned. Now here's where things took an even more uncomfortable turn. Not long after the verdict, Penny and his legal team were spotted out at a bar in New York City. And they weren't just grabbing a drink, they were celebrating. Glasses raised, smiles all around, and toasts to freedom. But for many people watching, it felt off. This is where Whoopi Goldberg came in. On the December 10th episode of The View, she did not hold back. She looked straight into the camera and said this.
I don't know. I don't know that seeing them celebrating in a bar made me comfortable. You know? I mean, you killed a guy. The man is dead, and maybe you take the celebration home, you don't do it outside, but that's just me.
Here, Whoopi wasn't denying the legal verdict. She was questioning the tone, the timing, and the absolute lack of grace. But she didn't stop there. She peeled back the layers and pointed out what a lot of people were thinking, but didn't have the platform to say. This wasn't just about one man choking another, it was about a system that failed everyone involved. She said it plain, there's failure all over here. There's failure in the system, failure on the part of the courts. And she was right. Jordan Neely had a long history of mental illness and homelessness. He had slipped through the cracks of a system that promises support, but rarely delivers.
Had been murdered, and that may have been what set him off on his mental path.
The truth is, this case opened up way more than just legal questions. It exposed the ugly intersections of race, class, and justice. However, just when you thought things couldn't get any worse for Whoopi, they did, because Whoopi literally found herself being cloned all over the internet. So, get this. February 2025 rolls around, and Whoopi Goldberg suddenly finds herself in the middle of something completely wild. It wasn't another on-air feud or a political debate gone sideways. Oh no, this time someone had dragged her into the world of artificial intelligence scams. And let's just say, it was chaotic. It all started when a super sketchy ad started popping up on social media, especially on Instagram. It looked polished, it sounded convincing, and it featured none other than Whoopi herself, except it wasn't really her. That's the creepy part. The video was completely AI generated, with someone using deepfake tech to make it look like Whoopi was enthusiastically endorsing some miracle weight loss drug. The image was spot on, the voice was disturbingly accurate, but the message was total fiction. And here's the twist. They had pulled actual footage from her interview on CBS Sunday Morning and edited it so convincingly that it almost passed as real. But once Whoopi saw it, she shut it down fast. What made it even more ironic was that Joe Rogan had just been talking about this kind of over-the-top reaction from celebrities when their image gets caught in the tech crossfire. He didn't name her directly, but let's be real. This was exactly the kind of dramatic meltdown he loves to call out. Cut to the February 5th episode of The View, and you could tell she was heated. She looked right into the camera and gave the audience a straight-up warning. I'm giving everybody a heads up. There's a phony weight loss ad floating around online on Instagram that has me AI-mouthed saying all kinds of stuff. And then she laid down the truth. I had nothing to do with it. Whoopi made one thing crystal clear.
You know, I don't sell anything.
Not at all.
Unless I say, hey, it's me, Whoopi, that's how you know it's me.
But then she did something even more unexpected. Instead of just stopping at a simple denial, she opened up about her actual experience with weight loss. And that's where the story got even more real. She shared that during the filming of Till, she found herself tipping close to 300 pounds. That was her wake-up call. And so, she turned to a prescription med that helps with weight management by controlling appetite and balancing how the body handles sugar and fat.
I don't have any reason to go sell some other stuff. I told you how I died. I took my Manjaro. I used Manjaro.
Yeah, which is...
Okay?
Now, before you get any ideas, no, this was not a Mounjaro ad. Whoopi made it super clear. It's the only weight loss aid she ever used, and she wasn't promoting it. Just being honest, she wanted people to know her journey wasn't some fairy tale transformation powered by a shady Instagram pill. It was personal, real, and definitely had nothing to do with whatever fake product those AI scammers were pushing. But let's zoom out for a second, because this whole mess wasn't just about Whoopi. What happened to her is becoming way too common. Deepfake videos, AI-generated voices, manipulated images. It's all blurring the line between what's real and what's fabricated. And with how slick these fake ads are becoming, it's scary how easy it is to fall for them. That's why Whoopi's response hit home. She wasn't just protecting her own image, though, of course, that mattered. She was also sounding the alarm for everyone watching. Her message to everyone was that we should not trust everything we see online. Question it, and look twice. especially when it's an ad that seems too perfect or says things you've never heard the person say before. Sadly, however, this isn't the only time Whoopi's been targeted. The craziest rumors were wreaking havoc, and Whoopi wasn't having it. Imagine tuning into The View one morning in January 2024, expecting your usual hot takes and coffee table chatter, only to find Whoopi Goldberg going off, and not in her usual witty kind of way. This time, she's had enough of something way messier: the internet rumor mill. Apparently, things had gotten so out of hand online that Whoopi had to take a moment during the show to clear the air. Because some of the stuff people were saying was absolutely unhinged. The wildest was a rumor that Whoopi was somehow tied to Jeffrey Epstein's private island. But don't worry, Whoopi didn't just deny it. She roasted the whole idea on national TV.
There was a fake list.
Yeah.
And I'm on it.
So you were on the island?
I was, apparently, I don't know. They said I was on the island. They said, I'm like, I don't go anywhere.
And honestly, that one line kind of said it all. Like, the woman barely leaves her set, let alone jetting off to some shady billionaire's island. But what really bothered her wasn't just the ridiculousness of it. It was how many people actually believed it. Why? Because the rumor started on a satire website, but by the time it made its way through social media, that little satire label had been long forgotten. Suddenly, people were treating it like gospel. And that was just the beginning. Whoopi had a whole list of other fake stories that had been floating around, and she was not about to let them slide. Next up on the rumor debunking tour was the allegations that she had been kicked out of restaurants owned by Gordon Ramsay and Guy Fieri. Yes, someone actually made that up. Apparently, the internet thinks Whoopi's out here getting banned from diners and steakhouses left and right. Then came the claim that she'd been removed from Bill Maher's show, which was total fiction. And just when you think it couldn't get any juicier, here comes the most dramatic one of all: a supposed backstage brawl with Oprah Winfrey. Like, fists flying and everything. Rogan, of course, couldn't help but find the whole thing hilariously overblown. He didn't even try to hide it, mocking the way celebs like Whoopi go full courtroom meltdown over stories that no one actually believes. And honestly, he kind of had a point. Whoopi shut that down immediately, calling it all insane. But here's where things got serious. Whoopi took a second to warn her viewers that even when these rumors come from so-called joke sites, they're not always recognized as jokes. A lot of these satire pages don't even put clear disclaimers. So what happens? People believe it, they share it, and suddenly a complete lie starts spreading like wildfire, damaging reputations and confusing the heck out of everyone. Then things got quite heated.
There is zero statistical significance.
Okay, because nobody can figure out what's being said here right now. No, there is no last thing right now. We're going to go to break.
She hit us with the real talk. She told the audience, "Don't believe unless I tell you about me. You'll know if I'm doing something. I have nothing to hide." And that's kind of the most Whoopi thing ever. Straightforward, unapologetic, and crystal clear. Basically, if she ever did get into a shouting match with Oprah or got booted from a Guy Fieri restaurant, she'd be the first to spill the tea herself. But underneath all the eye rolls and jokes, there was a deeper message. Because this isn't just about Whoopi, it's about how easy it is for fake stories to spread these days, and how hard it is to undo the damage once they're out there. With social media making everything go viral in seconds, and satire websites getting more and more realistic, even the most ridiculous stories can start to feel a little too real. Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, be sure to check out this other video on how Megyn Kelly slammed Rachel Ziegler over Snow White.